I'm Chris Fox, and this is The Bourbonite. Now, recently, I guess not even just recently, but many times over, there are a number of blogs, a number of publications, a number of videos even, that say that you shouldn't spend more than $50 on any given bottle of bourbon. Allow me to adamantly disagree with that. To start, older whiskey is delicious. You get more complex flavors, you get some more oakiness to it, and any number of strange things can start to happen to whiskey the longer it sits in that barrel. And older whiskey is more expensive. Basically what it comes down to is that it costs more to keep that barrel in a warehouse with controlled conditions longer, and the price just can't be helped to a degree. There is some market hype behind it, but you'll have that as well. Unique, special, or limited releases are another price driver for whiskeys. Now, a lot of people would say that these are just gimmicks, that a bottle of Maker's Mark isn't any better than a Pappy Van Winkle, but really what it comes down to is, do you really know until you try it? And that's probably the real key. If you don't splurge on the occasional bottle, spend a few extra bucks, and you only go for the cheap stuff, you might, and probably most likely are, missing out. At least a little bit. Now to that end, every barrel is different, meaning every bottle is different. And especially when you get to the more expensive whiskeys, I mean, you're gonna break the bank if you try to buy every single bottle out there. I don't know if you remember this, but there is an article from an old Wall Street Journal not that long ago that said you're better off investing in rare and collectible whiskeys than you are putting money in your 401k. There's no way around that. It's because this stuff can get really pricey really fast, especially when it's unique, rare, and collectible types of whiskey. That doesn't mean, I'm going to repeat that doesn't mean that more expensive bourbon is better bourbon. In fact, there are a number of fantastic bourbons and whiskeys that are under $30 a bottle. But if you never, ever spend more than $50, you're going to miss out on some fantastic choices. Like so many things in the world of bourbon, really what it comes down to is, it's up to you. If you want to try something unique, different, maybe more complex, maybe a little bit harder to tease out the nuances of what the flavor is, you might have to spend more than $50. But maybe not. So if you're new to drinking the stuff, yeah, maybe you don't need to spend more than $50 on a bottle. But if you really want to start getting into it and start really exploring what bourbon has to offer, you do occasionally have to spend a few extra dollars. I'm not telling you to go out and spend thousands on a bottle of Pappy. If you can get your hands on one, rock and roll, but I personally am not going to spend a small fortune to try a bottle. Now, if I might be so humble as to make a suggestion, I would say every couple, maybe every few bottles of bourbon that you buy, invest a few extra bucks, splurge a little bit, and go for one of those bottles that you've been eyeing up that costs $80, $90, $120. You might be a little disappointed because price is, it's hard to put a value on how good something is versus how much it costs. But you might be pleasantly surprised as to the amazingness that some of those slightly more expensive bottles are able to offer. So that's it. If you like what you've seen, hit that subscribe button, give me a thumbs up, because there's plenty more bourbon, well, just more bourbon to come. Now, there's also a few stinkers that are over $50, but I'm not gonna dig into those too much. I also don't drink enough of my expensive bourbon. I've spent way too much money on bourbon.